Listen to my story, story, story. Listen to my story now. Once upon a time, there was an old man. He was so poor. He had nothing in the world but the clothes he was wearing. He had been journeying from far, and he was tired and hungry. As the sun went down, he came to a forest. The stars began to shine, and the moon sent silvery beams down between the trees. He sighed and he said, "I do hope that I find somewhere where I can get a crust of bread to eat, for I am so hungry." As he walked along the path, he stopped, for he saw something. He looked down, and there, in a pool of moonlight, was a beautiful, round, smooth stone. He bent to pick it up, and he said, "I will keep the stone. It may come in useful." And he went on his way. And not long after, he saw a light in the distance, and his spirits were lifted. As he went toward the light, he found it came from a little cottage. So he knocked on the door. He waited, and I'm sorry to say that a rather grumpy old lady came to the door. "What do you want?" she said. "Good evening, good mother. You don't perhaps have a crust of bread for me, for I am very hungry." "I have scarce enough for myself, let alone share it with you." And she was about to close the door when the old man said, "Wait, perhaps I can help you." She opened the door a crack and she said, "How can you help me?" The man took the stone out of his pocket and said, "Do you see the stone? It is a magic soup stone. All it needs is a pot of boiling water, and I will show you how it works." Now the old woman was curious, and so she invited the old man into her kitchen. She bustled about, stoking up the fire, and then she put a pot of water on to boil. And the old man put the stone into the pot. And then they both sat at the table and waited. The old man looked about the kitchen and he said, "Are those onions hanging up there?" An onion would be good in the pot, for it would increase the power of the stone. So the old woman went and cut an onion down. She chopped it up and she put it into the pot with the stone. And together they sat at the table waiting. And soon a delicious smell filled the whole kitchen. "That smells good," said the old man. "But you wouldn't have some herbs growing in your garden? The stone loves herbs. As a matter of fact, I do, said the old woman. And she went and got her basket down. And then she went out to the back garden. And she was gone for some time. But when she returned, she was smiling and her eyes were shining. And she put the basket on the table saying, "Look, I picked some herbs, but then I remembered that I had carrots and potatoes growing, so I thought to pick those too." So she washed the vegetables and chopped them up and put them into the pot. And then they sat together at the table, waiting while the soup bubbled and boiled. After a time, the old woman went to look, and she said, "I think the soup is ready to eat." So she went to the cupboard and she fetched her very best linen tablecloth and spread it on the table. "Such fine soup can't be eaten on the bare boards of the table," she said. And then she went and fetched her best china bowls. She dished up some soup for the old man and for herself, and then they sat down to eat. But before they ate, the old woman said, "Wait, I have just remembered. I baked a loaf of bread this morning, and I have a lump of butter in the pantry." So off she went and brought the bread and the butter, put them on the table. Such fine soup deserves a good accompaniment. And then they sat together like old friends, eating the meal together. And when they had finished, the old woman smiled at the old man and she said, "My, now that was the most delicious soup that I have ever tasted. How much would you sell that stone to me for? For it is surely a magic soup stone." And the old man shook his head and said, "I'm sorry. My stone is not for sale." And then he thanked the old woman for her kindness, and he said goodbye. And taking his magic soup stone, he went back out into the night. And as far as I know, he has never been hungry again. And that is the end of our story. Listen to my story.